Good morning, everyone. Yesterday we began looking at the plagues because we can't look at them all in one Devo. There's just not enough time for that. So today we're going to look at plagues 5 through 9. We're going to keep 10 for later. It's in a category all by itself. So we'll look at that one later. But remember, in these plagues, God is showing who he is to the Egyptians, to Pharaoh, to the Hebrews, and to us, the sovereign Lord over all, answering Pharaoh's question of who is the Lord. Well, Pharaoh's finding that out. Now, he's also destroying the Egyptian worldview and their religious belief system, again, showing himself to be the only God that is sovereign. So, in the fifth plague, God amps up the intensity. Now, with the first four plagues, they were kind of an annoyance, but they weren't really deadly. In this plague, God attacks the livestock of Egypt, but he protects the livestock of the Hebrews, of his people, saving them from his judgment. And this is likely an attack on the goddess Hathor, who is the goddess of beauty, and the god Ptah, who is the god of creation. Hathor's symbol was a cow, Ptah's symbol was a bull. And God is showing them and telling them that he is the one who is the creator. He is the one who controls the beauty of their land. He controls the balance, and he can take it away. Then in the sixth plague, God brings boils onto the Egyptians, again, amping up the intensity even more. Now it's personal on the Egyptians themselves. With this, he attacks the gods Sekhmet, the god of epidemics, and the god Imhotep, the god of healing. These gods cannot heal or stop this disease. They can't control disease. Only the God of the Hebrews can. Now, notice also in this one that no one can stand before Moses and Aaron. Go read the text yourself and you'll see that in there. But Moses and Aaron are still standing. Now, there's an obvious message here that God's sending them. He is winning. The Egyptian gods are losing. Now, in the seventh and eighth plagues, God devastates the land, first with a major hailstorm and then with locusts. And so here he's attacking the gods Seth, who is the god of, who's the Seth god? God of storms, there we go, got it in my notes. And Wajet, who's the god of protection, or the goddess of protection. All of Egypt, with the exception again of Goshen and the Hebrews, is devastated by this plague, completely devastated. The text tells us that there is not a green thing left. It is a complete collapse of the Egyptian economy. And God overtly tells us the message here in chapter 9, verse 14, that you may know that there is none like me. And in the ninth plague, God brings a complete collapse to their religious worldview, just giving the final blow, the final nail in the coffin, so to speak. Remember how I said last Saturday that the most powerful gods in their pantheon of gods were Amun-Ra, the god of the sun, and Horus, the god of the sky. Well, and remember also that they believe that Pharaoh is the incarnation of these two gods. Well, God attacks them all by covering the land in complete darkness, a darkness to be felt, the text tells us. So again, God is blasting his message like a megaphone. Ma'at, the balance of the universe, is not at all controlled by Pharaoh, Horus, Amun-Ra, any of the Egyptian gods, but only by the true God, the Lord himself, who is sovereign over all. So God is showing that sovereignty here through these plagues. Like the lawyer in the story from the Darwin Awards that I talked about last Saturday, Pharaoh challenged God, and God answered that challenge very clearly by showing that he is sovereign Lord over all. So kids, today we're going to stop there, but remember God's sovereignty. Think about that. Remember that his sovereignty means that there is nothing, not the smallest particle, that is outside of his control. That means that everything that is going on right now in your life, in our town, in the world around us, is not chaos, even though it may seem that way. Even the things that might scare us about the way the world is going or our culture, they are all part of God working his plan. And remember, his providence is God using his sovereignty for the good of his people, like you and like me and his church. We can see that in this story. The devastation was all around the Hebrews, but God was using it to redeem them, to bring them out of Egypt. Even now, when there is civil unrest, people are suffering, the coronavirus and everything else that is going on, God is in control, using that to grow his church, to spread the gospel, to make us more like Christ. That kind of thing is hard for us to see when we're in the midst of it. That's why we need stories like this story that show us what is true when we can't see it in our own story. Let it show you what is true about what is going on right now, what God is doing, so you can rest in that and you can trust that. You guys think about that, and I'll see you again tomorrow.